we are starting with the chapter called antigen-antibody reactions. Now, whatever picture you are seeing on the screen, can you describe it? The two labels have already been mentioned. One is antibody, another is antigen. Can you throw some light upon some minor details that also are visible in the picture? Okay, let me ask you, can you tell me what is this part called as? The one that is shown in the red circle?
FC.
FC, correct. What is the FC? What is the long form of FC?
Crystalline fragment.
Crystallizable fragment. It is FC. What about the other fragments? What are they?
Fab.
Fab stands for
Antigen binding
Antigen
fragment.
binding fragment.
antigen binding fragment. What about the yellow balls that they have shown?
Epitopes.
Correct.
Epitopes.
Epitope, correct. And then what are these?
Paratopes.
Paratopes. Anything else that you can pinpoint in this particular picture? एपिटोप्स है, पैराटोप्स है, एपिटोप पैराटोप बाइंडिंग है, एफसी है, फैब है. ओके, व्हाट एल्स?
Heavy chain, light chain.
Yeah, heavy chain, light chain, correct. What else?
Disulfur bonds.
Of course, but they're not visible in this, right? You are telling me about the structure. There
Yeah.
is no antibody unbound, right? You all will agree with me. Now there is another observation here that one antibody is bound to two antigens, or should I say two epitopes of different antigens. Although the epitopes are same, but what difference it is making is it has formed a large lattice. Okay, this word is important. Lattice. Okay, so the antigen antibody reactions which we are going to deal with in this particular chapter will all talk about the magical phenomena of this antigen antibody reaction that tells us about lattice formation and its applications. Okay, let us proceed. So the first and foremost is about what makes them combine. Okay, and you all know that antigen antibody react together to form complexes. They are used for the detection of diseases causing agents and some non-specific antigen like enzymes. Where detection part will come much later. Okay, that will be basically dealing with the applications of antigen antibody reaction. Let us first understand what are these reactions, what are the types of the reactions, and then we will move towards the applications of those reactions. So coming to the serological reactions, we make these antigen antibody react in laboratories in vitro. Okay, and when these antigen antibody react with each other, they do that in three steps. First one is they form the complex, and that complex is so huge that it will lead to visible clumping. So what happens with the antigen antibody binding? It will either destruct the antigen or it will neutralize. So let us first understand what are the features of antigen antibody reaction. The first and foremost feature, important feature is specificity. Then comes immune complex, then the epitope, as you all said me, binding site of antigen, and then comes a binding site of force of antigen. So we will go through one by one. First one is specificity. Refers to the ability of an individual antibody combining site to react with only one antigenic determinant. So that is epitope. Okay? But what is a site on the antibody? That is a paratope. So always the reaction of antigen antibody is so specific that no one antibody can react with another type of antigen. Okay. So you can see it in the diagram here. As the antigen differs, the site will differ. How do antibodies develop this specificity of their paratopes with respect to their epitopes?
There are sequences like BDJ.
Correct. These are sequences in
There is
B cells.
permutation and combination of those three genes, and
Correct, correct. Very good. That's a brilliant answer. So basically, B cells come in contact with antigen, right? They earlier, before they come in contact with antigen, they are called as naive cells. As soon as they come in contact with antigen, they realize, oh, this is the antigen, this is how its epitope is. So they start synthesizing antibodies in that particular sense to match with the epitope, to match its variable region, to match its paratope with that epitope. Okay, this was just to trigger your curiosity. We do not have this section for our learning of this chapter. But yes, if you are interested, we will discuss about this sometime after the lecture. Next important feature of antigen antibody reaction is complex formation, immune complex. This is what I told you in the beginning, that they are formed by integral binding of an antibody to a soluble antigen. Now again we will come back to this term called soluble antigen, and otherwise what are they? Different types. Then the next one is binding site of antigen, which is epitope, and a binding site of antibody, which is paratope, again being very specific to each other. And the last point is binding force of antigen. Now, this binding force depends on three important factors. First is how close the antigen antibody is. Okay, more they are close, more strong bond will be formed. And these bonds that are formed are non-covalent bonds. Okay, they are the intermolecular forces, or the bonds could be of hydrogen bonds, van der Waals forces, or hydrophobic bonds. Different types of bonds, but not covalent bonds. And then we also have something called as affinity of the antibody, which is a strength of the reaction between a single epitope and a single paratope. To add to this, I may also give you one more terminology called as avidity of the antibody. Okay, please go refer to what is called as avidity of the antibody. So do read about it, and then we will discuss about avidity also in our next lecture. This is something other than your syllabus. So these are the different types of reactions. As we just said, non-covalent reaction take place. There's a diagram from book called C.V. Rao, which is of immunology again. Um, Antigen having hydrogen bond with antibody, antigen having ionic bond with antibody, antigen having hydrophobic interaction, and another kind of ionic bond wherein antigen is negatively charged and antibody's surface is positively charged, which was the other way in earlier ionic bond. Let us move towards other details, which are different types of reactions. So when I say antigen antibody interact with each other, there are different types of reactions taking place. It could be agglutination reaction or it could be precipitation reaction. Okay, say complement fixation or ELISA test, enzyme linked immunosorbent assay, or say immunofluorescence, or there is something called as immunoelectrophoresis. All these are nothing but the applications of antigen antibody reactions. So, okay, before we actually start learning about different types of reactions, this is a overview of whatever you have studied so far in immunology, right? What is the difference between neutralization and destruction? So what you are seeing here in the leftmost block is something called as neutralization. Are we actually degrading the viral or bacterium? No, we are not killing them, right? So we are just blocking. This word is important. Block the sites on the surface, coat the surface of the bacterium, then it is just neutralizing. Okay? So whatever antibodies are doing, in all cases they are enhancing the phagocytosis. Now comes after neutralization. So if neutralization hua, wherein there is no complex formation, I hope this is being very clear. यहाँ पे एक ही organism है या एक ही व्हाट यू कैन से सरफेस है जिसके ऊपर बहुत सारे एंटीबॉडीज आर कोटेड ऑन द सरफेस, वेयर एज व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन दीज टू पिक्चर्स, बहुत सारे सेल्स है एंड एक सेल को कोट नहीं किया है, बट लैटिस फॉर्मेशन इज जनरली सीन इन agglutination or precipitation reaction. So agglutination में you have bacterium or cells or visible substance or molecules which will be combined together by the lattice formation. Whereas precipitation में क्या होता है, we have soluble antigen. So the basic difference when we talk about precipitation and agglutination reactions का difference. Okay, you have soluble antigens which are not visible at all, and they start getting visualized when they combine with antibodies. Why? Because lattice formation हो गया. And then have you heard of something called as complement system?
They are heat labile proteins.
हाँ, और
And
why they are called as
they
complement?
uh,
How many factors are there?
actually,
हाँ, बोलो बोलो.
there are total 3 pathways.
Okay, so 3 pathways, correct, complementing the immune defense. Are you understanding? That is why they are called as complement factors. Now, how many are there? There are 9 such factors. Okay, and because we call them complement, we denote it by C, letter C. So C1 to C9. You can see it in the diagram. Such small factors are there. Okay, this green color. So what are they? What are they doing? I need to tell you this because antigen antibody binding triggers one of the pathways that Omkar mentioned. I would have to tell you in brief that what is complement system. So I'll be playing a video. So the surface of the bacterium, on the surface you can see antigens, nothing but what we call it as an epitopes. Okay, on the epitopes there will be binding of antibodies, right? So antigen antibody bound. Now comes a major factor into picture, that is C1, complement factor. Now you can see in this complement factor there are different subunits. Okay, Q, R, S, there will be different subunits. So C1Q, C1R, C1S will be there, and few subunits will only be playing role. Some subunits will depart once the binding occurs. So it has bound to which part of the antibody? It has bound to Fc region, right? So which part has bound to Fc region? I think C1Q, isn't it? कौन सा part था? Let me, C1Q, right? This yellow part is C1Q, green is C1R, and this one is C1S. So yellow part is the one which is binding to Fc region of the antibody. And then what happens is, just check, it will cleave the parts. कौन से part cleave किए? C1R and C1S, and these parts which are cleaved will be released. Okay, these released parts are called as anaphylatoxins, and they trigger the inflammation. They trigger the inflammation. Okay, now what happens with this C1? So this is just a base. This is a kind of an alarming triggering signal for other complement factors to come and bind. So comes C4, C4 ka bhi C4A released, and C4B is a larger part which remains. So this C4A is called as anaphylatoxins. Then comes C2. Again C2 is again cleaved into C2A and C2B. The only difference here is the part that is leaving C2 is called as C2B. Okay, that's an exception, C2B. For rest of the parts, everything that goes is a smaller, that is C2. Everything small part is called as A, and bigger parts are called as B. So this complex is called as C3 convertase because this complex is now going to cleave next complement factor. So again a bigger part, C3B retained, C3A released as anaphylatoxins. So this is a chain of events that is being followed. So ये पूरा कॉम्प्लेक्स को बोलेंगे C5 convertase. C5. Again C5 is cleaved. Okay, C5A, C5B retained. Then comes C5B, which is going to combine with C6 and C7 and initiate a site in the cell membrane for pore formation. So एक बार ये complex बन गया C5B, C6 and C7. Then comes C8 and too many C9s. You can see now C8 has gone inside the membrane completely. Okay. Then comes many C9 and they form a 4. This particular complex is called as membrane attack complex, MAC, membrane attack complex. Okay. So once the pore is formed, then all the material inside the bacterial cell will come out and cell will eventually die. Okay. So no need to have any immune cell into picture, and that is why we showed it here like this cell lysis occurs. So complement itself is doing lots of activities. No need for any cell mediated immunity. I hope this is clear. Now we come to the serological tests. So that was just a brief overview of what kind of reactions we have in the body and where all different types of reaction are happening when we talk about antigen antibody interactions. Now if we talk about applications of these reactions, as you may be aware that different kinds of reactions are used in laboratories for diagnosis, right? So when we talk of serological test, we have either serum of the patient taken, which will either have antibody or antigen. So if commercially available antigen is there, then we test whether any kind of antibody is present against a particular infection, or if we have the commercially available antibodies, then we test the presence of antigen in the serum sample. But on either case, we have two important sensitivities of the assays. One is called as analytical sensitivity, meaning how small amounts of antigens in the serum could be detected using the test kit. Okay, that goes with the sensitivity of the kit. So higher the sensitivity, better results. Okay, but at the same time, as you have more and more sensitivity, analytical sensitivity, there are chances that you have false positives as well given. So the ideal kit would be the one which is sensitive for analytical as well as clinical parameters. When I say clinical parameters, what do I mean by that? That if a patient is positive, it should be shown positive. If a patient is negative, it has to be shown negative only in either case. But there are some kind of factors that may be interfering with the results and that may be manipulating our results, which might give us false positive or false negative results. So we will discuss about this when we talk about the applications of the antigen antibody reaction. Right now, let us proceed with the first type of reaction, that is precipitation, or should we call it, in case of antigen antibody, it is not chemistry that we are talking about precipitation of antigen antibody complexes. So it could be, better words, it could be said as immunoprecipitation. Okay, the phenomena of aggregation of sensitized antigen, very important, on addition of specific antibody. Now antibody is the one which precipitates antigen. So who is precipitating is the antibody. Okay, generally people have confusion about precipitin. They generally write antigen as precipitin. And then we have something very important about precipitation, that precipitation can occur in both liquid as well as gel. Generally, we carry out experimentation of precipitation reaction in gels. Uh, we have some of the practicals also in this respect. Uh, when we plot when we plot the amount of precipitate against increasing antigen concentration, it will give us a curve called as precipitating curve. Okay. This is how the precipitating curve looks like. So what we do now, check on the y-axis we have antibody in the precipitate. Okay, and on x-axis we have antigen to be added. In the zone where we have high concentration of antibodies, say away from the well, okay, the zone which are away from the well, who all will be there, क्योंकि एंटीजन अभी डिसॉल्व नहीं हुआ है, पूरा डिस्पर्स नहीं हुआ है, ठीक है. So who all will be there? Only antibodies will be there. One or two antigen that they have shown. Now this one or two antigen are keeping rest of the paratopes unbound. And because paratopes are unbound, what is happening? There is no lattice formation. Can you see that? Whereas if you have more amount of antigen, that will also be not good, because they are going to block all the paratopes of one antibody, both the paratopes block. Can you see that? So there is no lattice formation even when zone of antigen is in excess. In the zone where antigen is in excess. So only such zone where concentration of antigen and concentration of antibody are in equal concentration, only such zone will give us a line which is visible, and which will be called as precipitine. Precipitate will be formed, and that could be called as a line of precipitation. This is all about the principle of precipitation. Okay.